If you thought World War III would hit us from overseas, think again, guys, because according to President Trump, the threat inside of our own backyard might shock you more than anything on the other side of the ocean. Canada, yes, Canada just got caught trying to bleed America dry while the world's deadliest enemies watch every crack in our armor. And Trump just dropped a nuclear level truth bomb about what's really going on behind those nice neighbor headlines. So right now, Russia, China, Iran, they're cheering whenever they see Canada testing us like this. And if you think that your city is safe just because it's not on the border, well, I want you to think again, because today, guys, I'm going to be revealing the top 15 U.S. cities experts say are first in line if the worst happens. Cities that America's enemies would strike first to break us overnight. Now, stick with me, guys, because in the next few minutes, you're going to see exactly why Canada's betrayal is way bigger than a tax, okay? And how it cracks open the door for our real enemies, and exactly why President Trump says that this time, no one walks over America ever again. Now, I got to ask you a question. Is your hometown on this list? I'm going to break down the full list, who's on it, why they're on it, and what President Trump's doing right now to protect American families while Canada plays both sides. So hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed, and stay locked in, because by the end of today's video, you're going to know exactly what Canada just tried to pull and exactly what President Trump plans to do about it. And you need to make sure that if you find your city on this list, that you take appropriate action to prepare yourself. So, all right, do not miss anything, guys. Let's get into it. So today, Donald J. Trump, of course, the president of the United States, whether you voted for him or not, I'm not trying to get into that, but if you care about this country, you know one thing. He's the only one that's left willing to slam the brakes on this runaway mess before it explodes into something that none of us can put back together. Because here's the truth that the mainstream they won't tell you. The world is on edge. One wrong move, guys, one weak handshake deal, one overlooked betrayal, and the chain reaction starts. President Trump knows that. He's been calling it out for years. And while he's been busy staring down Beijing, reining in NATO freeloaders, and ordering strikes that shut down Iran's nuclear fantasy before it ever got real, he's also been warning us about something that feels way too close for comfort. It's not the Middle East. It's not Taiwan. It's not even Moscow. It's Canada. That's right, guys. The so-called nice neighbor next door. Now, it's not even the citizens of Canada. It's Canadian leadership. In fact, I love Canadians. Shout out to my Canadians who happen to be watching the show. If you're from Canada, drop me a quick hello in the comments down below. Let me know what part of Canada you're watching from. So everyone loves to joke about polite Canadians, right? Maple syrup, apologizing too much. But let me tell you this, guys, behind closed doors, while the headlines keep you distracted, Canada's government was this close to selling us out for billions. And by doing it, they didn't just poke the bear. They cracked open a backdoor that Russia, China, and even Iran are dying to walk through. Now, stick with me, guys, because I'm about to read you guys the updated list of 15 American cities that would be hit first if World War III breaks out. And trust me, guys, some of these cities are going to shock you. I'm just warning you right now. But first, you need to see how Canada's betrayal connects every piece of this puzzle. So let's rewind just a couple days ago. While President Trump's team was hammering out the new trade rules meant to keep North America strong, fair, and honest, Canada pulled a stunt behind the curtain. They slipped a plan for what they called a digital services tax. Now, that might sound innocent, right? Wrong. This wasn't a routine fee. In fact, it was a massive targeted shakedown aimed straight at America's biggest and most profitable tech innovators. Okay, these companies that keep us 10 steps ahead of China, that essentially pay our workers here at home, that pump billions into our economy every single year, those are the companies that Canada was attacking. They didn't do this by mistake. They did it during sensitive trade talks, number one, kind of like they thought that they would be able to sneak a few $1 billion off the table while nobody was watching. Essentially a hidden toll booth slapped on the digital highway that we built just to pad their own pockets. Now, President Trump, he didn't even flinch. He looked right at the cameras and said it. There's been something going on that we don't like. He was talking about this, guys. Canada wanted the benefits of the American market, but thought that they could bleed us dry at the exact same time. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, well, Canada scraped it, what's the big deal, right? Here's the big deal, guys. They only backed down because President Trump called them out publicly. He put the heat on them, and he made it clear that America's done getting played. This wasn't a polite, oops, my bad, I'm sorry. This was a test, and they failed. Because if Trump didn't call them out, they would have kept doing it. And while your closest trading partner is willing to pull that kind of move while the world's worst regimes watch for cracks, you better believe it ties right into why those 15 cities are at risk if the worst happens. Because, guys, I'm about to show you why this wasn't a one-off. Canada's been pulling these tricks for years, and Trump's not letting them slip under the radar this time. He's cutting them off, and he's holding the line for American workers, for American families, and yes, American cities that are now on that target list if we ever let down our guard. So now, by the way, do not wait until the next medical bill reminds you that you're on the wrong plan. And Caroline, she didn't do that. She said, Chapter saved me from $4,000 in medical expenses. They didn't just talk, they delivered. Wow. I appreciate you sharing that update and information with me, Carolyn. Let's not forget about Flying Circa 86. They said 2 companies scammed me. Chapter pulled me out before I lost even more. What a blessing. Wow. Guys, stop paying the price for somebody else's bad plan. Fix it right now. Give our friends a Chapter call. Phone number is down below, 909-563-8279. Or better yet, hit them up on the website at askchapter.org/Ron. You don't have to get burned again. So now, if you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, okay, one sneaky tax plan, not the end of the world, right? You need to understand something, guys. This is not a fluke. This is a pattern, okay? Canada's been riding America's economic coattails for decades, while quietly stacking the deck in their favor every chance they get. Ask any farmer in Wisconsin or even upstate New York about Canada's so-called fair trade on dairy. Anybody know about that? Or talk to our timber producers about Canada's softwood lumber tricks. Or ask any rancher who's watched them dump products across our border while blocking ours with backdoor fees. Ask any one of them about any of those things. 70%. That is the number that you need to remember. 70% of everything Canada produces gets sold right here to us, not to Europe, not to Canada, or not to China, not to any other country. And yet, in spite of that, they've hit our farmers with these unfair tariffs and red tape for years, making American producers jump through all sorts of hoops while their stuff just sails south with open arms. Trump says, enough. Trump knows the numbers better than anybody. And he said it plain and simple. If they cheat, USMCA is worthless. That is the deal that we signed to replace NAFTA, to stop them from picking our pockets. But a piece of paper only works when the guy at the table has the spine to enforce it. And we finally do. But you want to know just how much leverage we really have over Canada? It's a whole lot more leverage than you think. And President Trump made that point crystal clear in a line that the media essentially mocked, but he meant every word. And I'm going to tell you exactly what he said and why it proves we're in control right after this. So here is what essentially had every pundit clutching their pearls last week. President Trump looked right at the camera and said it frankly. He said, frankly, Canada should be the 51st state. Now, I know there's a lot of mixed opinions, but since I have you, comment down below. Should Canada be the 51st state? And I also want to hear from my Canadians. Do you think that Canada should be the 51st state? I want to hear from Americans and Canadians. Let me know. I'm going to be looking through the comments. And so now the legacy media just completely lost their ever-loving minds. They said, Trump's insulting our neighbors. He's out of line. How dare he? But is he really out of line? But you and I both know better, guys. That line wasn't about insulting Canadians. In fact, I know a lot of Canadians that would love to be a part of America. Why not? Right? I mean, anyway, so it was about reminding Ottawa and Alberta who holds the cards. President Trump loves the Canadian people, and we know that. The working families up north who buy cars, watch our movies, and work alongside us every single day. Heck, we have NBA teams that are in Canada. Like, I don't even know why we're not all one big country already, to be honest with you, but whatever. So it's about the folks in Ottawa who think that they can play both sides, smile for the cameras in Washington, D.C., while squeezing our pockets in secret. In Trump's line, Canada should be the 51st state. This was a shot across the bow. Now, it was a reminder, America doesn't need Canada. Canada needs America. Our economy is over 15 times theirs. We could shut off the tap tomorrow and their export market would collapse. They don't have another audience for all that oil, lumber, grain, or autos because we are the market. And you know what? This is exactly why when President Trump called them out for the digital tax, they folded overnight. They blinked. They knew that they had picked the wrong fight with the wrong president. So here's the kicker. While Canada is pretending to be our buddy and pulling these stunts, I really should say, because it's not like Canada, it's like the Canadian leaders. So while the Canadian leaders are pretending to be our buddies and they're pulling these stunts, the real wolves are watching. Canada, or China, Russia, Iran, these guys are watching what's happening here. And what they could see is a crack in the armor, a divided neighbor where the back door might swing wide open. And that's not good. It's not good for Canada. It's not good for USA. And this is exactly how a trade betrayal ties right into your city, winding up on a nuke strike map. Okay. So next, I want to go a little bit deeper into this, guys. Okay. I'm about to show you how Canada's little backstab plays right into the hands of the world's deadliest regimes, and exactly why President Trump's team is staying 5 moves ahead just to shut it down. So you might be thinking, okay, Ron, okay, I get it. Canada's greedy, but how does a sneaky tax or a rigged trade deal end up putting my city on a nuclear target map? Well, here's how. The minute your so-called friends show that they're willing to break ranks, your enemies start circling. The second Canada tried to double dip, bleeding billions of dollars from our tech giants while enjoying the safety and wealth that comes with a stable North American alliance, they put cracks in the shield that keeps America strong. Russia and Canada, they live for cracks. Iran, they exploit cracks. And when they see alliances squabbling, they don't sit back. They test the line. They start asking, well, what else can we get away with while they're distracted fighting over pennies? You see, you don't have to guess. You're living it. I mean, just weeks ago, President Trump gave the green light for direct strikes to take out Iran's underground nuclear sites, precision hits with bunker busters that stop the regime's breakout flat and cold. I mean, now I will admit this bought us time, but it did not erase the threat. And make no mistake, guys, Iran wants payback. You know they do. Russia wants chaos. China wants a distraction. All three see Canada's little backstab as an opportunity to wedge the United States and its neighbor apart because every wedge weakens us. And this is when the unthinkable lands right on your doorstep. This is why President Trump said it out loud, that there's things that are going on that we don't like. He wasn't talking about hurt feelings. He was talking about the back door that they opened for real nuclear powers to start planning how they would strike America where it hurts the most. And you think that's paranoia? Well, think again, because Russia has already mapped it out. So let's go ahead and connect the final dots. Now, if you've been paying attention, you already know that since 2019, 6 years ago, Russian state TV bragged about which U.S. cities that they would hit first if a nuclear standoff ever turned hot. Not just any cities, strategic targets tied to our military, our economy, our energy, our ports, guys. And guess what? The list Russia published back then overlaps almost perfectly with the updated strike map that just dropped this week. That's not a coincidence. That's a blueprint, guys. And so I want you to look at the world right now. Iran's leaders, humiliated by Trump's precision strikes, just issued a fatwa, a religious a direct religious death order calling President Trump an enemy of God. Does anybody believe that Trump is an enemy of God? Please let me know where you stand on this, guys. Yes or no? They want him gone. They want Netanyahu gone. And they would love to see American cities pay the price for their failure. Meanwhile, China's not sitting on the sidelines. They're holding the world's second biggest nuclear arsenal. They're stockpiling weapons, playing nice with Russia, playing games with Taiwan, and they're watching every single U.S. move for signs of weakness. So when Canada tries to bleed us dry in the middle of all of this, they're not just messing with a tax bill. They're sending a message. They're sending a signal to every regime that wants America divided, distracted, and wide open for a worst case scenario. And if that doesn't make you look up from your phone right now for a second and ask, hey, wait a second, where do I live on that map? Then I don't think you're paying attention yet. All right, so you've waited for it. You've heard the warnings. You've heard the threats. And you now know that they're not just headlines, they're coordinates. This is the updated U.S. NUKE target list confirmed by military analysts just 4 days ago. The 15 cities most likely to get hit first if World War III ever crosses the line from tension to detonation. And here's the chilling part. These cities are not random. Each city ties back to why America is so strong and exactly how an enemy would try to break that strength in one night. Listen closely, guys. If you hear your city, you better stay all the way to the end, okay? So number one, Honolulu, Hawaii. Paradise is what many people think of when they think of Honolulu, Hawaii, right? Not when it comes to nuclear strategy, though. It is the Pacific gatekeeper, home to Pearl Harbor, Hickman Air Force Base, and one of the most isolated U.S. populations anywhere. So if an enemy wanted to cut our reach in the Pacific, they would probably hit Honolulu first. Now, number two, Shreveport, Louisiana. I know. You're probably thinking, it looks quiet. What are you talking about, Ron? But Barksdale Air Force Base hosts B-52 bombers ready to fly anywhere on Earth. If Russia or China wants to stop our bombers from flying, they strike here. Number three, Ogden, Clearfield, Utah. Mountain towns, not safe. Hill Air Force Base runs nuclear operations, a direct line for any strategic strike aiming to shut down our arsenal. Number four, Cheyenne, Wyoming. I know only 66,000 people live here, but Cheyenne's Francis E. Warren Air Force Base, it's the brain for our intercontinental ballistic missiles. You lose Cheyenne, Washington. You lose Cheyenne, Wyoming, you lose the command to strike back. So that's a critical site, a critical city. Number five, Great Falls, Montana, close to Malmstrom Air Force Base, home to hundreds of missile silos, out in the open plains, cold, remote, but not invisible to Russia's maps. Number six, we've got Colorado Springs, Colorado. This is where NORAD lives, okay? North American Aerospace Defense Command. You can't defend United States skies if you lose Colorado Springs. Number seven, we've got Omaha, Nebraska, right in the heartland, but it's the control nerve for nuclear command. Offutt Air Force Base has run America's most sensitive nuclear operation since the Cold War. Number eight, we've got Albuquerque, New Mexico. Looks like a desert town, desert tech town, but Kirkland Air Force Base holds one of America's largest nuclear stockpiles. That's the bullseye for any strike aiming to wipe out our reserves. Number nine, Houston, Texas. So the United States energy capital is in Houston, Texas, guys. Oil refineries, nuclear power plants, massive shipping ports. You hit Houston, you cripple American energy overnight. Number 10, Seattle, Washington. Beautiful coastlines, global tech hub, and naval base Kitsap, one of our main submarine and nuclear weapons facilities, surrounded by mountains and water. Not very easy to evacuate if you think about it. Number 11, Los Angeles, California. Gavin Newsom's hometown state, right? Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass just did a number on the city not long ago, right? So Los Angeles, second biggest city in America, major ports, tech defense contractors, the scale makes it impossible to protect and impossible to evacuate. Number 12, also in California, San Francisco, California, guys, Bay Area port, major tech hub, and a city that's boxed in by water and bridges. Now, if you think traffic is bad now, imagine a strike warning, right? Number 13, Chicago, Illinois, third biggest city in the United States, surrounded by 4 nuclear power plants, central hub for U.S. transport. And if an enemy wanted to shut down Midwest industry, Chicago's top on the list. Number 14, Washington, D.C., the political heart, the White House, the Pentagon. Guys, if you're an enemy looking to decapitate America's command, you point every warhead at Washington, D.C. first. Number 15, you guessed it, New York City, the biggest city, Wall Street, UN headquarters, media power center, destroy New York, and you don't just hit America's money. You send a message to the world, to the whole world in one horrific instant. So we cannot let any of these cities be at risk, guys. If your city is on that list, you're not alone. If you're near any of those cities on those lists, let me know in the comments, guys. Millions are. But if you're not about, it's not just about where you live, though. It's also about whether you could even get out in time. And this is what a lot of people don't understand, because we all like to think, well, if the worst happened, we would just pack up the kids, jump in the minivan and just drive away, right? But the truth is, some of these places are designed by nature, by population, and by sheer size to be death traps if the clock ever hits 0. Sometimes, if you get the alert to leave at the same time that everyone else does, you're not going to be able to leave. Take Honolulu, for example, surrounded by the Pacific, 2,500 miles from California, no road out. No highway, no mass ferry fleet to haul out hundreds of thousands overnight. If you don't have a plane ticket out, you're staying put. I mean, look at Colorado Springs, Cheyenne, Ogden. They're all surrounded by rugged terrain and mountain passes. Just a handful of major highways in and out. A single car wreck, a bottleneck of people panicking. Nobody's moving. Then, of course, there's the big ones. Los Angeles, New York City, Chicago, even San Francisco. Try evacuating millions of people with kids, cars, pets, and panic, right? Everybody's stuck on the same freeways that you hate during rush hour. But this time, you're not racing to get to work or to get back home. You're racing against a warhead. This is the reality, guys. And the people pushing taxes, loopholes, and backroom deals think that they're playing some polite trade game. They're not. They're poking holes in a shield that protects these cities from becoming bargaining chips for regimes that would love to hold us hostage. But here's the part they never seen coming. America has a president who knows every one of these cities, every exit, every back door, and he's not just sitting in the Oval Office hoping the world plays nice. He's putting the pieces in place to keep the wolves at bay. So, with that target map burned into your mind, the question every smart American should be asking themselves right now is simple. What's President Trump actually doing to keep these cities, my city, safe? And the answer is, this is not just about talking tough for the headlines. It's about making real moves every single day that the mainstream won't tell you about. Start with the border. While other leaders hand out empty slogans, Trump's administration's tightening the border like a steel trap. Why? Because sleeper cells don't fly in with a flag. They slip in while we're distracted. And Canada's slip-ups at the negotiating table only raises the odds that bad actors try to sneak through the cracks. So Trump's ICE teams are hunting them down, and they're sending them back out. Thousands already. More on deck. Next, trade policy, right? When Canada pulled their digital tax stunt, Trump didn't just send a strongly worded memo. He called them out on air. And the moment they saw he wasn't bluffing, they folded. They collapsed. Why? Because they know that the United States under Trump doesn't play nice when you poke the golden goose. We're not paying your bills while you plot behind our backs. That's stupid. And Then, of course, there's our military readiness. While past administrations looked the other way and let strategic bases shrink, Trump's made sure key command posts like NORAD, Barksdale, and Malmstrom stay ready around the clock. Fighter wings, bombers, missile silos, all watched, stocked, and on alert. Because Trump knows deterrence works when enemies believe you'll hit back 10 times harder if they ever think about touching our cities. And the economic front, that's where Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent comes in. While the globalists push debt chaos, Scott Bessent is rewriting the playbook to protect the dollar and keep our economy stronger than any bomb the other side could drop. It's called leverage, and leverage is what keeps adversaries guessing and cities standing. And if you think that this president will ever apologize for doing whatever it takes to defend you and your family, think again. So there's a reason why President Trump's words hit nerves when he says there's something going on that we don't like. He's not sugarcoating. He's not saying maybe, sort of, we'll see. He's telling you the truth, raw and real, because that's what leaders do when the stakes are survival. Okay. He wants Americans to know no one walks over this country again. Not Canada with secret tax schemes, not NATO with overdue defense bills, not Iran with fatwas, not China with whispers of buyouts, not Russia with intimidation lists. And if your city's on this list, he wants you to know you're not forgotten. You're not a bargaining chip. You're not expendable for the next global handshake. You're not any of these things, guys. You're exactly why he put America first, because that means putting you first. So when you hear that noise, the legacy news, the smug headlines saying, oh, he's fear-mongering, he's overblowing it, there's nothing to worry about. Remember this. The people who say nothing to worry about are the same ones. Well, I'll just say this. The people who say nothing to worry about are never the ones who are going to pay the price when the sirens wail. You see what I'm saying here, guys? It's nothing for them to worry about, but it's everything for you to worry about. President Trump knows that. This is why he doesn't sugarcoat the real threats. This is why he's flipping the script on freeloaders, spies, and enemies with zero apology. So what should you do? Well, I'll tell you what I would do. I'd definitely stay aware. Know where you live. Know what you would do if you ever had to move fast. And above all, never back leaders who back down. Support the people who stand up, even when it's uncomfortable, because they're the ones who keep the wolves out of your backyard. So what does all this mean for you sitting there right now? Well, it means you don't tune out. It means you don't pretend that someone else is handling it. It means you don't buy the bedtime stories that they feed you on evening news about how everything's under control while your grocery bill doubles and your city shows up on a target map that nobody else wants to read out loud. You see what I'm saying here, guys? If your city was on that list tonight, Honolulu, Houston, Seattle, New York, Los Angeles, DC, San Francisco, Shreveport, any of them, then you do what smart Americans have always done when danger circles the gates. You pay attention, you get informed, and you stand behind the commander-in-chief who refuses to let anyone, foreign or domestic, sell you out for a cheap handshake deal. Another thing, make sure you click the link in the description down below. Join our breaking news newsletter so that way you are updated as soon as breaking news does come out. It's totally free to join that. Hit the link down below. Because let's be honest, guys, when Canada tries to squeeze our tech companies, they didn't ask for permission. When China spies on our networks, they don't wait for a press conference. When Iran issues a fatwa on a sitting president of the United States, they don't care what your policies are. They just want you afraid, divided, and distracted. President Trump's not distracted, and neither should you be. He wants you to be ready, not paranoid, just prepared. Know your region, know your roots, know your family's plan if something ever rattles, that siren at, say, 2 a.m. in the morning. You don't have to live in fear. You just have to live with your eyes open and just have a plan. So if you want to do something right now, stay informed, stay vocal, stay loyal to your country, not to people who trade it away for pennies. And remember, guys, defense doesn't just happen with missiles and radar. It happens with dollars and debt too. And so while the world tries to push us toward chaos, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is fighting a different battle. to keep our debt strong, to keep our currency stable, and not to mention our economic floor unshakable. No matter what storm comes from Beijing, Ottawa, or Moscow, he knows what President Trump knows. You can't defend a nation with a begging bowl. A strong economy is a strong defense. And this is why we're tightening the purse strings. We're bringing jobs home. We're stopping the free rides that they let countries like Canada cash in while they plot backroom stunts behind our backs. Canadian leadership, of course. So when you hear Scott Bessent talk about interest rates and yields and rolling over debt, I want you to know it's not just Wall Street chatter. It's the silent shield that keeps missiles in silos and American families sleeping under a flag that stands for something more than empty promises. So here's what you can take from this today, okay? President Trump's nuke warning isn't fear-mongering. President Trump's nuke warning is not politics. It's the plain, cold truth that Canada tried to sell us out, or at least Canadian leadership did. The wolves were watching, and they blinked when President Trump stared them down. And if they tried again, we'll be ready. So your city might not be on the map, but it's not alone. It's not forgotten, and it's not unprotected. Not as long as the president stands his ground, pulls back the curtain, and tells you exactly what the elites don't want you to hear. So do your part. Like this video, share it, subscribe, tell your family, tell your neighbors, because when America knows the truth, America stays strong. And when America stays strong, no one, not Canadian leadership, not Russia, not China, not Iran, ever dares knock on your door with anything but respect. This is your country, guys. This is your shield, and this is your warning. Straight from the man who won't sell you out for anything. We'll see you next time.